Olá, tudo bem com você? Aqui quem fala é Leonardo Trench, fundador e diretor da Gradeup, uma empresa que há 10 anos orienta e prepara alunos e profissionais de todo o Brasil para os seus processos de candidatura nos mais diferentes destinos e programas. Lembrando que, para programas de graduação, programas de mestrado, programas de MBA e até mestrado jurídico, o famoso LLM, esse ano de 2023, a gente tem uma série de webinars já organizados, planejados, para trazer a todos vocês o que há de melhor e as informações mais fidedignas sobre as universidades, sobre seus processos e, principalmente, as possibilidades de bolsas parciais que essas instituições oferecem aos alunos latino-americanos e brasileiros. Hoje a gente tem o prazer de estar realizando esse webinar com a prestigiada Universidade de Westminster, a Universidade Britânica, com mais de 100 anos, muito popular entre os brasileiros, excelente localização, vários campos, muitos alunos brasileiros que lá estudam e que hoje trabalham. Particularmente no dia de hoje, a gente também tem a grande oportunidade de falar de um dos departamentos mais interessantes da universidade, em uma das indústrias que mais crescem no Brasil, que é a indústria de fashion. A gente tem duas grandes convidadas e, claro, todo esse webinar será conduzido em inglês. Vocês fiquem à vontade de colocar qualquer tipo de dúvida aqui no nosso chat. Esse webinar estará sendo gravado, então vocês também podem ter o acesso ao final. E, é claro, a gente fica à disposição ao final para esclarecer e te ajudar nessa jornada de candidatura. Como eu mencionei, são 10 anos auxiliando brasileiros de todo o Brasil e a gente espera também estar trabalhando com você nos próximos dias, nas próximas semanas, para tirar esse teu plano do papel. So, thank you very much, both Helen Amo, Jane and Marwa, who join us to talk about fashion industry. It's a great pleasure to have you here. And as I said, there will be a number of opportunities for our Brazilian students, find out more about the University of Westminster. So the idea here is to talk about the department, the university, and obviously London as a great destination. And I'm pleased to introduce, first of all, Jane Black, who has been with us, a great partner, visiting Brazil, recruiting and supporting a number of students. Jane, a pleasure again to talk about the university and obviously talk to you. Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having us, and hello everybody. I'm Jane and I work in the international team here in London for the University of Westminster, and I support Brazilian applicants who are applying to come to study with us in London, whether it's for undergraduate or postgraduate programs, so bachelor's or master's, and whichever subject. So you're really welcome. You can speak to Gradeup. They're our official representatives in Brazil, have a lot of experience supporting students coming through to Westminster. We've had many happy students and now alumni for Westminster from Brazil, but you're also welcome to reach out to me. So if you're interested after this session, then we'll share all the email contacts and you're welcome to get in touch about anything about applying or entry requirement queries. But really Gradeup know all of this as well. So thank you.
Fantastic. And also with us, great pleasure, Helen. Helen, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and your role at the university? Please?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again very much for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. Yes, I think my background is probably quite similar to many of my colleagues across the fashion business courses in particular, which is that we're heavily industry focused. So very few of us have trod an academic path all the way through. We're all real life practitioners. Whilst I've been teaching a long time now, I spent even longer in industry. So I'm a merchandiser by background, but in American parlance, that's a planner. So whilst I'm not a mathematical whiz, I can spot a dodgy number at 100 paces. So I very much worked alongside buyers and designers, putting ranges together, all the way through, how many colours we were going to have in the colour palette, through to marking down the stock and selling out of it, making all those kind of planning and trading decisions along the way. I've done that for a number of retailers at different levels of the market. So I've done designer luxury department stores, I've done high street, I've done branded, I've done own label, I've done off price, across menswear, women's wear, kids wear, accessories and jewelry, and homeware. So yeah, I've done the full breadth of retail in the UK. Had a very successful career, if I do say so myself, along with most of our colleagues, and that's what makes, I think, our programs on the fashion business side so special. We're all still actively engaged in industry. Many of my colleagues work part-time in the university and might also still be consulting. We've got colleagues who are professional trend forecasters, but that also lecture with us. We've got a fabulous lady who teaches our entrepreneurship module. She also runs her own business on the side, and in fact, 2 businesses on the side. So people are really speaking from real life experience. It also means when we're going into industry and we're talking about placement opportunities, or we're talking about our graduates, we're speaking the same language as the retailers we're talking to. We have instant respect that we speak their language. We know what industry is like. We know what they need. Our graduates, whether they be undergraduate graduates or graduates from our master's programs, that those students really are what we call industry ready. They're commercially aware, they're good communicators, and they are ready to hit the ground running. So I think that's really important to say, and I think I'm fairly typical amongst that. So I teach on 2 programs, predominantly undergraduate fashion business management and the postgraduate fashion business management. I have been course leader a number of years ago. I spent 7 years as heading up the course. So I've got a wealth of experience, and the other hat I wear within the university, which is sort of what I'm wearing today and sort of not, I'm also international director for the School of Arts. So I'm very keen in building partnerships around the world where there's mutual benefit. So yes, my flights to Hong Kong have just been booked for a couple of months' time. So yes, when I'm not teaching, I can be seen, either trying to recruit more students. And I think that's one thing I would say that I've thoroughly loved about my teaching experience at Westminster. We pride ourselves quite rightly on being incredibly diverse and very inclusive. So we've always had, excellent British students, but equally, we've always had the very best international students coming to us for that expertise that you talked about, that really focusing, really making sure that people are really ready for business. Some of our students go on to do masters, but actually most of our undergraduates are absolutely industry ready. The masters tends to appeal, we'll talk about that a bit more, but students who've got a little bit of industry expertise, but have perhaps done an undergraduate program in a different area. So yes, but the diversity of the student body is a delight to teach, and it's a really enriching environment in which to learn. So very proud of that.
Fantastic. Very good, Helen. And also with us, Marwa, please join us. Marwa has a degree in fashion, is one of our counselors and admin here at Gradeup, helping students from all over Brazil. And obviously, when we do have a student interested in fashion, either for undergrad or masters, Marwa is heavily involved. Marwa, welcome.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to join you all. I did a degree in fashion business, but I also studied fashion design. And I have been working with this, international education over the last 15 years. And I took part for more than 6 years in, selection process for fashion institution in the UK. So I have seen a lot of portfolios, curriculum of Brazilians. I know very well our universities here. And I do know that, studying in the UK opens a range of possibilities. Because here in Brazil, the most of the students, we only have fashion design programs or fashion business. And in the UK, and especially in Westminster, they offer a range of programs. So you can not only study fashion business, you can be more specialized and go to fashion marketing and promotion, for example. So You can be surrounded by an enrichable environment full of creativity, full of industry process. You're going to be much, much more connected with the industry. And everyone know that, London and UK in general is one of the most famous, country to the fashion environment. They have a lot of catwalks and famous alumni. So I'm very, very pleased to join you all. Thank you. Yeah.
Fantastic. Just touching base on that, as you mentioned, London as a great destination. Jane, so that's the main question. Why Brazilian students should choose the University of Westminster? So tell us.
Well, of course, firstly, it's about the subject that you're choosing. Today, we're talking about the different fashion programmes and options, and Helen can answer all of those specific questions. But Westminster in general, so yes, we're in the centre of London, and it's the students themselves that choose that, and all our Brazilian students particularly, they want to, have that global city experience. Wherever you're from in Brazil, you might be used to living in a very big city, but coming to London opens up those opportunities, those industry links in whatever area actually. So, we get students coming to us for architecture, law, as well as the fashion and creative subjects. And you've got, the Law Society, the Architects Registration Board is around the corner from us, where we teach our architecture programs. You've got those opportunities for networking, career development. And then, as Helen's already explained, we're really international and really diverse. And I think the other thing that people think about when they consider London is, will it be a friendly environment to learn in? Will I feel at home? And London is very much a global city, and Westminster is very much a global university with students from everywhere. So you build up those links, those skills, and those networks for the future in your career across the world. But also, I think you can feel comfortable very quickly, and actually it is, a great place to choose to come and study.
That's fantastic. Marwa, the other day, had a question from a student around campus. Can you share with us, Marwa?
Yeah. I just want to clarify, because we know that Westminster has a lot of campus across London and is very much part of the city, and the student would like to know where they're going to study, where the courses are taught.
For fashion?
Yeah.
I'll hand over to Helen.
Okay.
Okay.
Fashion, along with most of our design-based programs, is based about 20 minutes away from the West End. We're in a campus location in Harrow, but literally the underground station is at the edge of campus, so it's very, very easy to get into the West End. So students are still living all over London and commuting into Harrow. Alternatively, some choose to live closer by. Harrow's an incredible place because that's where we've got full-size film studios, TV studios, our own radio station. We've got music studios, music performance spaces, fashion design studios, graphic design studios. You name it, it's where all our creative courses, with the exception really of architecture, which is based in the West End, are based. And that's primarily because, well, there's this historical reason that we used to be an art college that was taken over by Westminster, but our courses take up a lot of space. You really cannot have a full-size film studio in the middle of London's West End. It just economically is just not possible. But it means that Harrow is the most dynamic, very creative space with really opportunities for students to meet other students doing completely different disciplines and to really benefit and forge those, incredible networks and friendships. So only 20 minutes away. I mean, it really is, you don't need to check the time of a tube. You turn up, there's one there, 20 minutes later, you're in the heart of London. So I think it makes accommodation a bit easier. Some students do choose to live very locally to campus, but it's an incredibly dynamic atmosphere on campus. It's a wonderful place to be.
If I could just add, we do have accommodation on site at Harrow. So with Westminster, it does depend which subject you study, and it's always good to check which site you'll be at. But with Harrow, you really have the best of both worlds. You've got easy access to the centre of London, but you've also got that lovely campus feel and accommodation if you'd like it.
Yeah, just to summarize on that, Jane, so everybody obviously can have an overview.
Sure.
Are there how many campus, and normally what subjects are taught at each campus?
So we have 4 main sites with a couple of buildings. So we have the Harrow site, which is the home of the digital and creative industries and all of those subjects. And then we have a school of biosciences and computing, and that's in the centre of London, near to Warren Street, Goodge Street. We can send links if people are interested in looking at the different areas. You can always see it on our website on the course page, which faculty the programme is taught at. We have our original building, which is at Regent Street, which is the one that looks like a traditional British university, and that's our social sciences, humanities, and also our School of Law, which is popular for Brazil, especially postgraduate students. And then we have our Baker Street site. So if you're familiar with Sherlock Holmes, or you've been to Regent's Park, Madame Tussauds, that's our Baker Street site, and that's the business school, and then also the School of Architecture and Built Environment. So it's those are the key 4.
Yeah, that's very good. And the other day we had an inquiry about the School of Architecture, if you're going to talk about the school. Not today, but we're planning to talk about architecture, and obviously Westminster will be part of that. So, be in contact, follow our YouTube, and there will be something coming up very soon. Marua, you do have a question from your student.
Actually, Jane, you were mentioning a lot of studios, crafts, and opportunities of faculties. But can you tell the students a little bit more about an overview about which kind of courses and fashion area you do offer at Westminster?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we know them very well, but the students, they would love to be aware about it.
Jane, shall I take that, or do you want to? Yeah, okay. So undergraduate-wise, we have a fashion design program, which is one of the very best in the entire world. She says without any bias whatsoever. Very, very creative. We have an undergraduate program in fashion marketing and promotion, which you talked about, which is really looking at that cutting edge, the mixture of digital and analog, or what we call phygital. We have an undergraduate program in fashion business management. We have postgraduate programs currently in fashion business management and an MA in menswear design, with others cooking along. Yeah, so there's growth still to come in the fashion programs. It's a very, very strong area in Westminster with a long tradition, and we're definitely looking to grow those areas. And I'd just say that the MA program is so well regarded that we actually teach it around the world as well. So, and actually, indeed, the undergraduate program, the reason I'm going to Hong Kong is for the last few years, we've been teaching it out in Hong Kong as well. So other partners come to us for our expertise. So that's our suite of courses at the moment. And we're also developing, which will launch shortly, a program in fashion photography. So, really forging those links between fashion marketing and promotion and our strength in photography as well.
Fantastic. Just curiosity. Is there any age limit or any time in life minute to start studying or, fashion? Because what we see is a number of students, they start something else, always love it, the area, but sometimes for any reasons, didn't go through, didn't put, that passion. So what's your view on that? What's your,
I think my view is fashion is a huge industry. It's one of the world's big, big industries. It's going through a lot of change. It's dynamic. I've had a career in fashion pretty much since I was 21. It's taken a huge number of different turns, but the common theme throughout my working life has been fashion. We are all going to be working until we're close to 70. That's too long to spend doing a job that you don't enjoy. Now, there might be some bits of fashion that are very young and dynamic, but there is room for everybody, whether it's running your own business, in which case a degree in fashion and getting that understanding it. I would say will give you a huge advantage in all the complexities of thinking about the customer and how you build a range and how you price it and how you promote it. There are so many different career directions that you can take. I would say to anybody, if it's what you want to do, follow your heart. The joy of working in the industry was that every day was different. Within one sentence, you can be talking about the season that's just ending, the season that's coming into your warehouse, and the planning and the range planning that you're doing for the season after. You're moving simultaneously between all those things. I mean, students were amazed when they realized there wasn't a separate set of teams that looked after each of the seasons you're going to be dealing with. What's important in the morning can be way down the bottom of your to-do list by the afternoon as events change and you're responding to real-time sales data. So it's dynamic, it's exciting. There are huge both challenges around sustainability, but also those present huge opportunities for retailers and brands that get it right. So there's space for everybody within fashion. You might not be in range planning, you might be interested in workers' rights and good working conditions in factories and making sure that your brand's ethical policy is being followed to the letter. You might be all about fabric sourcing around sustainability. All kinds of different opportunities. So I would say no fashion limit. Fashion, you need to love it and live it. And if that's how you feel about it, I'd say go for it. Absolutely go for it.
Yes, that's very good. And you mentioned one important bit is a huge industry, has room for everybody.
Yeah.
What would you say? What are the transferable skills that the industry need? I'm asking because we do have a number of master students, sometimes with different background, but wishing to join the industry. What sort of tips would you give to these more mature students, Halle?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff which are what we call the soft skills, and those are highly valued. And certainly there's a significant emphasis in our master's programs on developing those soft skills, that industry readiness. The skills that students, they almost don't realize they're learning it as we go through the process. The ability to communicate, the ability to sit here as I'm hopefully doing today and talking off the cuff, but hopefully being coherent and answering the question. There's the ability to work independently, to be a self-starter, to manage multiple deadlines, but also to be able to work very positively as part of a team. Those are key skills. Students don't particularly love group working, but it is essential. When in business do you choose, well, I'll work with you, and you, but I don't want to work with you? You've got to learn to rub along with everybody and hit your deadlines. So soft skills are really important. Communication in written and verbal, really important. And then alongside that, there's the knowledge based. Can you solve a problem? Can you identify a problem? Do you know how to go about researching that? Do you know how to actually evaluate those findings? Nobody in industry starts quoting models and theories, but you do it in your head. You're evaluating what you've found out so that you're coming out with a convincing, plausible answer to a question you've been asked about what should we do in this situation. So I think we're looking for positive people, team players, good communicators, commercial. A lot of that can be taught, but often for people who are interested in fashion, it's something they almost feel in their bones. That excitement when you look at a fabric that's right, when you look at a garment that's right. My family always laugh at me if I'm actually out in a store with them, my ability to say, well, that's going to be in markdown in 6 months' time, because why would they buy that? Never in the history of retailer is that sold and you go, yeah, it's less than half price and they still can't sell it. Equally, identifying those things that are going to be the best sellers. Some of that is almost, yes, it's experience, but it's just something you feel when it's a business that you just love. And all our courses, undergraduate and postgraduate on the fashion business side, really look to develop, hone those skills, get people to really understand what it is that they're looking at.
Very good.
Very good.
Jane, I've got a question for you. It's more technical around the admissions process.
Good.
But that's something that Marua, myself, and our team always need to clarify. What's the University of Westminster policy when you have a student coming with IB curriculum, ensino médio curriculum? Tell us a little bit about the role and the importance of foundation, but when also, particularly for fashion, and especially if the student is going to fashion design, if that student has not developed a portfolio, what foundation can help? Sometimes even IB students are not ready in terms of portfolio. What sort of guidance, tips you can share with us?
So obviously the UK, England, Northern Ireland, Wales has a 3-year degree system and 13 years of school. A little bit different if you're looking at Scotland and you've got the 4-year degree options, but because we offer the 3-year degrees, so most students from Brazil who've studied standard high school will have that gap, that missing year. So they often need to look to do a foundation program, which is like a bridging course. It gives that extra year. It gives you an introduction into UK academic life. It helps you with, writing skills, research, and then you get a focus on your subject area. So that's for students. For students who've done IB programs or maybe an international school, maybe the US system and have got APs, something like that, then there are other options for them that their qualifications would meet direct entry to apply for degree. So it does depend a little, but for most students from Brazil finishing high school, they need to apply to do a foundation. Then if they want to do the fashion business program, they can do a business focused foundation, or they might study a bit longer in Brazil and get other experience or start university and then apply that way as well. For fashion design or for fashion marketing, then obviously you're looking at more of an arts and creative foundation route. So we do work with Kaplan Pathways in London. They have a London college that offers Westminster routes and Westminster programs. And that's across many of our subject areas. But we do also take applicants, and possibly Helen can add more to this, from different foundations and also from students who started university in Brazil and who are then coming and applying to our year one that way and might have got that year. But in terms of design and the portfolio level and tips, I don't know if you can add, it's a big topic, but I don't know if you can add anything here, Helen, what we're looking for.
I think fashion design, which is the big one there, they're not looking for anything in particular. There are some fashion design schools that have a very clear handwriting. And every time I've spoken to the course team on fashion design, there is no Westminster handwriting. What they are looking for is almost those little signs of genius. So they're looking for, they don't expect people to necessarily have, spent a lot of time studying fashion design as part of an art foundation. They're interested to see what the creativity of that individual is. So whilst that's not helpful, that's the honest truth in terms of what the team are looking for. They spend a huge amount of time going through students' portfolios to make sure that they pick the people that are really going to benefit from the kind of education that's offered within fashion design at Westminster. Marketing and promotion, that's not quite as left field, a bit more mainstream in terms of, looking to understand what people are capable of. But again, the people that are looking at portfolios are incredibly experienced, and they're very, very good at picking out those things that say, actually, yeah, this student's good. It's got the great raw materials that we can work with. So I think, I would encourage students to put their best work together, but not to overthink what goes into the portfolio. The best example of them, work that they're proud of, that they enjoyed, that shows a diversity of skills.
Good. because this is, I guess, is the most common question when you're
Yes.
thinking about study art and design abroad, because here in Brazil, we don't require a portfolio to join the university. So the students, they're always confused about, well, what I should put, if I should put, drawing skills or something more related to fashion, design and creativity. But one of the most common questions also is about the fashion business side, because how you can, evaluate, as we don't have a portfolio for fashion business,
Absolutely not.
but they do have to prove something. They do need to do, for example, a math test or something that show that they have, like, the skills with numbers, or things, differently.
Basic maths is needed. Nothing, if you can add up, take away, multiply and divide, you'll be all right. It's, we're not talking quadratic equations or Pythagoras here. So I think it's important that students they often panic about maths. Certainly British students do. The British are notoriously not very good. I hated maths at school. But as I said, I can spot a dodgy number in a £50 million budget, at 100 paces, and I've still got that skill. We don't ask a maths test. We look at your qualifications to reassure ourselves that the solid basic maths is there, but it's much more about functional mathematics. What we're really looking for in a personal statement is you've done your research. You know what it is you're applying to come to. So, when I looked at personal statements, those students that don't know what a fashion business course covers and don't refer to it, they're not the right people for us. We don't want to bring them halfway around the world on a course that isn't what they've said they want to do. We want some evidence of their interest in fashion. So I think research your courses that you're applying to and show us your interest in fashion business. What is it that you've read? What is it that you've done? What work experience might you have done that actually says to us, actually, yeah, this person has got, yes, they've got the academic qualifications, but this is a sector that they are really interested in. If you're going to study something for 3 or 4 years, you have got to have a high level of interest in it. I mean, and those are the students we want.
Helene, that's very good. And you touched on a very good point. Research, of course, and that's something that we always share with students. Look at the syllabus, please read the website. So you need to refer, you need to show evidence that you are ready for that course, that you are motivated for that course. And you need to, you need to sell yourself always in a good way, but you need to research. So that's a very interesting and positive tip. Just changing a little bit, what would you say to parents, when parents are worried about their child going to apply for a fashion course? Obviously, it's not to everybody, but let's say conservative, or the mindset is not ready. They still want their son or daughter to apply for law or medicine. What would you say? Because obviously they are worried about.
Of course, I completely get it. I mean, these courses didn't exist when I went to university. I've got a degree from University College London in geography. That's my background. So almost nothing made me happier than talking to parents at open days who were clearly very academic, who'd done an academic degree themselves and didn't understand anything about this world of fashion. Perhaps there was a little bit of snobbishness in it, that they wanted a child who was going to do law or physics or English or French or whatever. And I would say to them, we know that not all our graduates will end up in fashion. Some will change their mind along the way. We put a huge emphasis on all those transferable skills. So when I say that, we start from, when we're working out our course of curriculum design, we start from what do we want our graduates to look like? And there we want them to be, as I said, industry ready, commercial, good communicators, excellent team players. if you ask anybody in any sector, what do they want of a graduate? They want somebody who's numerate, literate, a team player, a problem solver, somebody who can manage their workload. There are, more graduates go into jobs unrelated to their degree than they go into jobs related to their degree. So I would say we still give all our students all those excellent transferable skills. Often they've got work experience as well. They're working on real life projects. And at the same time, we will give them the knowledge they need and the deep understanding of how the fashion industry works so that they can actually hit the ground running. I have got graduates who've chosen, for all kinds of reasons to go in different directions, and they've still had phenomenally successful careers 10 years out from graduating using the transferable skills of the degree. Very few people with a degree in English, well, what do you go into? Yeah, they're not, geographers don't become, we don't become cartographers or teachers. We go into other professions using those transferable skills. So I went the other way. I used my transferable skills to go into fashion, and fashion students can equally use those transferable skills in another direction. But those are really deeply embedded in our course.
But also, there is obviously, people are worried, parents are worried about careers, opportunities, future, but it's a growing industry.
It's a huge industry. It's a huge industry. It's perfect these days. Social media has changed everything in terms of people setting up their small businesses themselves in a way that wasn't possible before the digital age. So many opportunities all the way back in the supply chain, so many opportunities within retail itself and within brands or within specialist marketing agencies. The number of career options is just almost endless within fashion.
If I could add something, because I did the different route. I did fashion business, and now I'm not working in the industry. But everything that I have learned from my degree, I'm still using it in my, daily life environment. And I joined this, international recruitment industry by doing fashion business, because I was working in a fashion institution. So it's everything connected. And I used to say a lot that, here, not only in Brazil, but in, everywhere, you do have a lot of great programs in the different areas. But these kind of students, for example, who pursued, a degree in business, they can still work in the fashion industry. But, someone that did a degree in fashion business, they have all the skills required in the business side, but they're also creative. They can think out of the box. And that is a very good skills when you're thinking about working in the art and design industry. And so this is why I guess Westminster is one of the famous universities. And I'm only saying that because I'm here in this webinar, because I did fashion, so I know, the most fashion institutions, the famous one with the good curriculum. And when you have this opportunity of, studying fashion photography, you're going to have a plus from someone that just study photography. So you can think, in a different way. They're going to be key from the, fashion industry. So
that's very good. Just complimenting on Maru, obviously, experience, Helen. Obviously, UK, London is a great destination, but there are other famous destinations as well for fashion around the world. What would you say? What's the main feature? What's the main aspect that UK is different?
I think there are a number of things. I think fashion wise, we're almost at the center of things. We're looking east and west. I think I'm not a linguist, but the English language gives a huge advantage within fashion. Again, whether wherever you're talking to in the world, so being educated within that language is a real skill. I think there are some parts of fashion, certainly, everybody is talking about sustainability at the moment. And I think the UK schools, that is a real focus for us. So I think we are, in many cases, ahead of our competitors, if you like, our peers around the world, in terms of that almost is not now taught as a separate subject. It is so deeply embedded in every module that we're talking about in terms of where that sustainably fits in. And I think, as Jane was saying, London is really a global city. There are plenty of other great cities around the world, but the diversity in London, that cross-pollination of ideas, is something that it's not unique to London, but we're one of a very few places that has got that diversity of student body. And again, that almost comes because of the language. It really brings it all together. So there are plenty of places that are great. There might be some that are better, but I do think London has got some real significant advantages within fashion and within fashion education.
Okay, that's good. Helen, can you share with us what are the current partners of the university, offering opportunities for internship or something related to the job market?
Oh, it's as wide as you want it to be. Students are working or interning in small agencies, they're working for big companies, they're working in supply chain, they're working at the high street level, they're working for luxury brands, they're working in marketing, PR, sustainability, you name it. There really is no end. I could throw every brand name at you and then some. Wherever students want to work, there are opportunities in London if those students are determined and talented.
Fantastic.
And I have one more question about it. I know that Westminster offer also an option to study abroad, right?
Yep.
So this can start at Westminster, then
Yep.
do a year. Yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's something I managed while I was the course leader. So rather than just a study abroad experience, what we offer on the fashion business program is an exchange program. So we work with selected partners around the world that have got complementary courses. So we work with FIT and LIM in New York. We work with Toronto Metropolitan University in Canada. We work with Virginia Commonwealth University, beautiful campus. We work with RMIT in Australia, Hong Kong Polytechnic and HKDI in Hong Kong, and we take their students. And in fact, a colleague of mine shared on our team WhatsApp this morning a fabulous picture just saying how wonderful the incoming study abroad exchange students were from those places, who were in her class yesterday when she was taking them through the menswear archive that we've got in the university. So it works both ways. Our classes in the University of Westminster are enhanced by the incoming exchange students, and our students that go abroad for a semester have an amazing experience as well. So every which way, it really works.
That's fantastic. All very good university, reputable universities around the world. That's very good, Helen. Very good to know. And by the way, we see a very positive trend from Brazilian students wishing to take a study abroad opportunity, even if their local university has not an academic formal mobility program. So I believe Westminster is quite a good option as well, because you guys offer 6 months or 1 year study abroad, and we see a positive trend. So you might end up seeing a few Brazilians for study abroad over the next few months. So
that would be wonderful.
Yes.
I should mention as well that we have it's our summer school. It's in June, July. You can do a 3-week program or a 6 weeks program. So if you're studying in Brazil and you want to get an experience of London, you maybe want to come and take some modules in your area, see what London's like, and then potentially return to us for a master's. That's another great opportunity as well. So you can find out about our summer school programs.
Well remembered. Very good.
Yeah, great. And what about age limit for these summer school programs?
So it's not age-based, but you should be have an offer for university or be at university. So it's an academic summer school, and you do get credit that you return back. You might not do exactly your subject area. A lot of the creative digital industry subjects, you will need to have some experience in the field, in the area. But other students might take something slightly outside of their normal subjects they're studying at home. But it is an academic summer school, yes.
Oh, amazing.
Ladies, we are coming to the end. You know, as I said, time is flying. But just to summarize, Jane as well, what would you share with Brazilian students, especially now thinking about the application process? Any particular tips? Are they late? Is still possible to enter, you know, September 23 for masters, undergrad? What would you say? And also, if you can share a few alumni or successful stories, that would be fantastic.
So I'll cover the application and I'll hand over maybe alumni for Helen to talk about our fashion alum. But I can say that we have a great group of Brazilian alumni that we're in contact with, and we meet and try and do events and activities with. And we have a couple of our Brazilian alumni ambassadors on our alumni pages. So if you do want to reach out and speak to some students that have studied with us, you can always do that as well. Application, you're not too late. For undergraduate programs, if you're applying, you would be applying to UCAS if you're applying to start a degree. And that is still open for international. You've just passed the equal consideration deadline, but don't worry if you're in Brazil applying, very happy to still consider you where possible. A couple of programs, and one of those is fashion design. You do usually need to meet that January deadline. If you're looking at foundation routes, if you're just finishing normal high school in Brazil, then you can still apply for foundations, have a chat with Gradeup about the options. There are lots of entry points and no specific set deadlines for those. If you're looking at masters for September, then great, you've still got time. We are seeing a lot of applications this year. It's still after the pandemic. There are still people who delayed study. So I think our message out is please apply. So get in touch with Gradeup as soon as possible, submit your application. And then you'll have time because you're not committing at that stage. So if you're looking at maybe the fashion business management, it's one of our very popular master's programs. I'd encourage you, get the application in as soon as possible. Don't wait. We've always been quite relaxed about masters and said we don't have deadlines until the very final visa dates. But definitely, I would say for this year and going forward, please apply soon. And then you can have conversations, get in touch with questions, find out a bit more and decide if it's the right program for you.
Very
and
good.
for alumni, I can hand over.
Yes. Helen, final consideration, please.
I think if you are passionate about fashion, you want to be at the heart of the global industry in one of the world's great cities and somewhere where you're going to be really welcomed, where you're absolutely, your diversity is something that we applaud, and absolutely you're going to fit right in. I don't know how many nationalities I have in every class that I'm teaching, which makes it an amazing experience as a student and as a tutor. So yes, no, please give it some consideration. And if there's anything at all that I can help to answer, absolutely don't hesitate to get in touch.
And that's something that you mentioned quite particular about Westminster. The mix of nationalities is very rich. So it will be a very cosmopolitan experience, I'm sure.
Incredible. I mean, I think my master's students, I think I'm supervising 9 this year, and I've got American, Mexican, Austrian, Indian. Just wonderful. Just wonderful.
Marua, what Brazilian students, local students should do now after this webinar, if they're still interested in joining Westminster programs this September?
So the first step is contact me. So we can discuss about the programs, the opportunities, how they can manage their portfolio, the entry requirements for the programs. We can organize in, all the route. I did fashion as a degree, so you're going to be all benefit with my, tips. And then we can build a relationship and help you. And Alan and Jane is going to be pleased to see you all in London in a few months.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much again to take part. Helen, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much. A lot of information, great tips. So yes, we'll keep in touch. Jane, thank you very much again. Always proactive, always engaged. Again, we'll be in touch to talk and maybe organize a few one-to-ones with students, and that's the value that we bring to Brazilian students. Marua, thank you again to complement and bring your own story, your own experience. Always a pleasure. And you guys, please, you are not late. If you still wish to apply to the University of Westminster, please do get in contact. There are a number of great courses, great departments, well located in London. So yeah, do not postpone. Please do get in contact. Thank you very much. If you are happy, you can also watch these on YouTube, and we'll be delivering other webinars in the coming weeks. So please keep in touch. Thank you very much to you all.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye from London.
Yes. See you all. Thank you.